All right. So hi. My name is Marianne. I have a timeline that I need to get through, but basically, I just want to say that I'm very afraid for my life, and I'm being targeted, stalked, harassed, and have been for about 2 years. Um, it started, I believe, with a dox hack smear campaign by someone that I had dated. He sent me a malicious link. So I'm going to start there. But I hope that I can catch my breath. I've got a lot of anxiety going on, and I do believe I'm targeted. Using I don't know, something that some people don't understand, or it's being written about, but not like domestically, or not something that most people want to believe that would be possible. But I have noticed kind of cricket sounds and stuff, and I guess that's associated with the Havana syndrome and stuff like that. And I do believe that there's something to what I've been experiencing in my home. Um, with that as someone who is dealing with a situation by frankly powerful people that know that it's really hard for me to obtain proof or get any help because our institutions are being gutted and failing us. So this is the anxiety of the stress of like the full barrage of attacks. It's multifaceted, it's constant, it's of course everyone's familiar, meant to silence me and tarnish my reputation. I had wanted to do podcasting, and so I do believe this is a free speech issue, and all my rights are basically, I don't know. I don't feel like they're being respected, and it's a very unconventional situation that I am currently in the middle of, and I'd like to try to get some help with that, and at least not be so isolated when I have started to realize that I just can't really trust what I'm being told, the people that may be around me at the moment. And I'll just have to, give like a rundown of what I'm talking about. But we'll go back to September 2024. I actually began dating this guy, Bo Hudson. We live in, Nashville, around Nashville. I live a little bit outside. I worked down in town, and not working right now, but we'll get into that. Basically, started talking to him, everything in August. In September, he sent me a phishing link. I didn't know. I kind of thought it was weird, but I trusted him. And that was my bad because I broke up with him in October, because he just wasn't really able to be there. And, obviously when I did that, it was just kind of, I don't know, weird. But after about a month, I did reach out and say, yeah, sure, you want to be friends, we can remain friends. But I had no idea that my phone was hacked for about 6 months. So it was pretty violating, and we'll get into that. But the election happened in November 2024, and that is important as far as like the lead up to that, even though we weren't, dating anymore at that time. When we were dating, I obviously, was getting to know him, finding out things. His parents are actually the old owners of Carter Vintage Guitars here. And so I guess using that old building that they still own but can't sell, or hasn't sold. Sorry. They hosted the DNC for the election. They told me that, or he told me that. And, he was making it like a big deal that my parents were kind of, working a little bit with the GOP up here, like, locally. And so I kind of joked because when we got together, I wasn't really wanting to be political. He told me the same. I came to find out that he just wasn't really telling me, I don't know. I found out things later. So it seemed like he cared a lot more about, being on the left. And I was willing to just, date regardless, because if it wasn't held to this, big standard where it was going to be an ideological issue. But yeah, I guess, I joked that, that we were kind of like, Romeo and Juliet with Brother Our Family. It was just like, whatever. But it should have been innocent. And, if there was an issue where you had a problem with my parents being Republican, for instance, then, maybe you just part ways. But that's not exactly what this person did and what he decided to basically set up. I'm not really sure at what point things started to get like that, or where he started to betray my trust and all this. But we'll go to February 2025 when I find out about the phone hack, because I basically spent the whole winter. I went down in weight because I was I had this subconscious, probably bad feeling. I went through about a depression. My stepdad actually in November fell off the roof, and we had a really hard Thanksgiving and following subsequent year as a family. And one of the things that, rubbed me the wrong way, that I think that, my intuition was just probably feeling like something was wrong. And I mentioned the energy weapons right off the bat because yesterday it was really, really bad. This week it's been really, really bad. And mostly because I just, I'm actually getting somewhere in trying to get some help on this, or at least, they are ramping it up because, they don't want that. And so I'm not suicidal, but I am in fear for my life. I'm very upset having to deal with this, but yeah, it's been a significant cost at my life already to be going through this. And, essentially moved out to Nashville. I'm originally from San Diego and all over the West Coast. So not really knowing a lot of people here, and then having this happen and only pretty much having my parents in the area made it really easy to keep me isolated and make it so that, I don't really feel comfortable going out after dark, or, I'm stalked everywhere I go in town kind of thing. And that came later, but I just want to say that at the beginning, from the very beginning, when people started showing up at my house and all kinds of stuff, they were playing crickets. And I have come to find out that, is Havana syndrome, or associated with that. And these waves, that's what you might actually hear audibly. And I've been hearing that since this started in the, February 2025. So I'm pretty exhausted. I might even have been dealing with it before, is kind of what I'm saying. And, that's just something that I'm kind of learning now. And so I don't know if I am, dealing with an attack like that. What I do know is that I'm isolated and I don't feel like I can trust the people that I should be able to. And that includes getting some help normally. Okay, so February 2025, we started going on Facebook dating. We're like, okay, we're going to try to meet somebody. It's time, I guess. So after a few months and the winter, I decided to, start looking around on Facebook dating. And I talked to a few, I think, people previously before, And like, so during like November, I had like a weird call with someone that, kind of tipped me off. And then when the fall happened, I just want to go over this. When the fall happened, Bo had been texting me stuff like basically based on the conversations I was having while I was spending Thanksgiving with my family. And so it made me really uncomfortable because, for instance, we were talking about I was going to get an iPad Pro. So he sent me a meme with an iPad and a kid, it was like Chucky or something. It was like a little Chucky. And I thought that was really weird. And I was like, why are you sending me this? And I've never even like seen the movie. Like, I don't really get the context, it's kind of weird. And then he just was like, oh, and I thought it was funny. And it's like, when you think about that, that insinuation from my ex at that time is just talking shit. Like he knows I want a family. So he's just basically saying that I'm going to have little Chucky because I have red hair now. And I'm going to be an inattentive mother. That's basically... and I've gotten a lot of these types of memes from these men that are doing this. So we have quite a bit to get through. We've got also, when Doug fell off the roof, he said, oh no, I hope nothing bad happened. And, when you find out that he's actually like watching you through your phone at this time later on, like you get like a chill down your spine, I guess, like that these people, were kind of doing this and capable of this treatment of us. I was nothing but nice to him. I believe that he actually got me, my best as far as like, 39, like learned a bunch of lessons, just trying to find the right person, like, really, really frustrated that this, had to go down like this. I do know that he was on, meds and that was the first person that I had dated that was on that. So, there was, right before we broke up, he apparently went off them and was having a really hard time. And I did try to ask him to, update me, ask me to, help me like understand so that I can be there for you because this is new to me. And I think that he just wasn't able to handle everything. And so that was kind of like something that I was trying to be supportive of, but now in retrospect, I'm afraid as to, what he's capable of, like if he, is already done all this stuff. So it definitely just kind of makes me feel like, obviously this person doesn't know me and this is, a political attack and it's provoked out of, this bias, hatred, whatever. And, anyway, yeah, he wouldn't really be able to, excuse me. It sounds like do, most things. He was saying that he was, starting his own guitar shop. And, I tried to help him with, the things that he said that, like he was still trying to figure out and get the kinks out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I devoted like a lot of time and, and gave him a lot of myself. And I feel like this is something that, there's more to it, but I don't have all the answers. What I can say is that, he does play video games. He was in a group chat. I do think that there are weird friends around him or people that he called his friends. And they did come by and stalk me at the beginning. It's hard for me to tell who is here at this point. And, I live on like the third floor of like a walk up. So when people basically have been just driving around for 2 years, just trying to terrorize me, it's hard for me to like, get their license plate or like really do anything about it. And the most insidious thing is just like, where my apartment is. It's around like everything where people should, feel like safe, I guess, or, yeah, and it's just a circumstantial thing, but we'll get there. So we've got February 2025. I get on Facebook dating, and then I go, I actually get a call from someone that I knew on Facebook. I guess he just like messaged me, and then we got on a call, just someone that I had went on a date with previously. He probably lied, but he told me that he saw me on there and he was in Chattanooga now, and he wanted to catch up. And, I wasn't particularly like interested in this person to date, but I thought he was really nice back in the day. And so I got on a phone call with him and I talked to him for a little while, and the whole thing just turned out to be a ruse, and he was a complete asshole. And then he kind of got on at the end, like with him and his cousin, and like, acted like they were like jacking off. And then the call was like over and it was really awkward. And it was this big gotcha. And it was like, okay, so, and that's like another thing too, is his name was Shane Thornton, and his cousin lives with him in Chattanooga. They did brag on Bo's friend's Facebook about stalking me, and there were lots of references to like the things that I was reading and the things, like just stuff about stalking me. I guess it's hard to explain, but if it was your life, you might recognize some of the private moments if you saw it somewhere, and then in this context. And that's basically what I ran into. So I had a call like that, and that was, I want to say it was the 12th of February, 2024, because the call that I had the next night was on the 13th, because I remember that he mentioned, it's the night before Valentine's Day, so let's have a call. And that call was with Chris Severe. Please Google that person. He basically, we talked for about a week. He got some fake date set up where he just basically was trying to make fun of me for, being almost 40, and was, he was so cruel when I arrived to the date that I just kind of shut down, to be honest with you. And I just kind of got through it. I don't know how else to explain. I tried to have a good time, but I should have just left. I don't really know why. I just kind of, with my trauma, I guess you don't want to believe some things when you're all dressed up and there. It was pretty frustrating. So anyway, it's like we're in a heat wave right now, so I'm sweating to death. And it's probably these lights, who knows? But we're going to be, I should turn the fan on. We're going to be doing this for a little bit because I just need to be able to try to make sense of it. But yeah, it's like, obviously looking back, I was just trying to figure out like what exactly was going on. And I think when I told and recounted like the story to my mom, she just said like, you'd have to be a paranoid schizophrenic to think that any of this would be happening. And I'm like, I know. But I think after what we've all been seeing, it definitely happens. It's hard to believe, and people don't want to believe it. I was kind of feeling like the whole week, like there was something up, and I was like fucking with the guy because he would kind of do stuff like that. Like guys like neg you and everything. And so there were just like weird interactions or, like a vibe, and the whole thing, it's just kind of like, I'd call it overeager. And I wasn't even particularly like attracted to this person, but I'm like open-minded. And so to me, I'm just like, but I don't have, I guess, a lot of experience in dealing with extremely like psychopathic people or people that are just ruthless. Like it's pretty much been like something that I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, like how far back does this go? I think the attitude that this person had, I think that what he ended up getting is kind of what I feel like he wanted, as far as, getting a situation where he could compromise, and smear me. And basically I felt kind of pushed into that, and I had a lot of weird feelings, and I was kind of like remembering stuff from my ex, and that's kind of where I felt like kind of pushed into it to try to figure out what was going on. And it goes back like a decade essentially to like another situation, and it's like growing up where I did, I was close to a lot of these industries, in the in the like creative world. And so that's kind of like where I came up, what we were interested in and what was nearby. And so that was like our culture on the West Coast. And so it definitely goes back to a situation where I had like a phone hack back in like 2014, I believe. And, it's kind of making me feel like, I've had this happen by a number of boyfriends. And this is something that I think, women are dealing with probably on a larger level than we realize. And it's definitely changed the way that I look at my phone, and how I treat like, trying to just keep a little bit of privacy together. But yeah, regarding that, I do know that, these, some of this was leaked online, as well as like things from my phone, or like, I don't know, recordings. I have no idea really what's happened. And, but I have seen the people that, that like respond to it, or like when I'm interacting with people that I know that have seen it, they're all too happy to treat me like shit, and a lot of them are industry people. And I've contacted them, and kind of just see what I would get. And they were nice, but also like, they basically, it sounded like they knew exactly what to say that had been said to me already to try to get me, like, for instance, they tried to mention something about race so that maybe you'll talk about race because the insinuation is you're racist. Well, guess what? I'm from the West Coast. We didn't have the same culture that they have here in the South. So not really applicable. And you can ask anybody, not, my intent is what matters. I completely maintain that none of this it needs to be brought to light, but I have been kind of kept from being able to express myself. And I'm not really willing to, I don't know, like, choose that. Like, obviously I'd like to deal with that, but the point is, like Chris Severe had worked, like he was a military cop, I guess, in the Army. And then he had worked with the FBI doing like the sex trafficking stuff. And he said that, he was a hero. And basically the whole week was a lot about him and like what he had done and like all this stuff. And it was kind of a lot, but, that's kind of why I felt kind of, it's stupid now, but I felt a little bit comfortable enough to kind of figure out if, there is a there. And so that's kind of how that went down. And then after that, that's kind of why I'm also like at the beginning, I'm not sure like who's here, what's going on. It's a few people outside yelling for a while, and then it's just people driving around, and they obviously have shifts and people, and it's like, then obviously, I have, with this understanding of, when I interact with people in the world, but I also have no idea like what they're seeing that's being defamed about me. They they just probably are posting like videos, it sounds like, of me, out going to work and going home. They follow me everywhere. So, I've got like a whole group of people. And so I've kind of went back and forth the whole year. And you're going to have to bear with me because I've been dealing with those attacks, and I can't have any pride in this situation. Like I really do believe this is going on, and I can't worry about what anyone thinks about it. The last like 4, 5, 6 nights, I think since like Sunday night. So like Monday on this week, I have not been able to sleep because of the relentless audio. And like, it's kind of when it's coming, I feel it in my floor, but I don't know like where the beam's coming from, but it feels like everything's vibrating like an electrical thing. And so it ends up making your muscles stiff, and like, they can target parts of your body, but they also, I guess, can make you do anything biological. But this has affected me. So every day is harder for me to be able to do this and try to keep it, straight. And, that's very insidious as far as I'm concerned, because I really, have been going through a lot, and no one is very supportive, and they've isolated me to the point where, I mean, my parents are, kind of wrapped up in this as well. And since, they don't really have a reference for this, they don't see it. And I'm pretty sure you guys would understand, looking at that Kentucky race, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. I'm only about 10 minutes from the border where I live. Okay. It's not that far. Now, I found out my phone was hacked reading through memes after that. I was scrolling on Instagram and I started to see meme pages. And I want to finish up on that call too. We were talking about how I wanted to start my podcast, and he asked me who I looked up to in the space. I said the Grimerica show. And then I think that's my initial understanding is it was probably sent to a network like that and dispersed and God knows what. But I come into the picture, I'm scrolling and I just see like a group of memes and a couple pages of that. And I didn't screenshot them at the time because I was like horrified. I'm just like, and then you come to realize like, they're watching me through my phone, like have that reaction. And that was just like really, really difficult to go through considering like what I was staring at, which were my personal moments, and basically they took like a recording of me after I found out like what they had been doing. At my parents' house, how like they were like, we're going to go to the farmer's market. Do you want to go? And I'm like, no, because I just found out like what was going on a little bit. And I'm just like completely betrayed like by this guy, Chris. And and they just turned that into, well, she's just a horrible person. Well, of course, I just went to my parents and told them like, this is what happened. This is why I reacted. And they went, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that's not, your normal reaction, of course. So it's like the feeling that they're going to use everybody for everything. Okay. Because I'm not like special here, and I'm not trying to say that. This is about all of us, and that's why I think this is so important. And I know that I'm really strong, and so I feel for anybody that's ever went through this, that's going through this, because people don't take it seriously. They don't want to hear about it, and it throws you off balance, and then everyone around you is just being told to make fun of you. That really destroys people. And I think that's probably why, they're doing it, right? Okay. So we found that, and that was a smear/dox campaign. So now my address is out there. I don't know who's outside. It was kind of chaotic, and it still is. This is something that, like I said, we now have flock cameras. Like I was like, oh, maybe they're using those. But when it's your actual individual device and all of your devices at home and stuff, it's like any move that I make, they're trying to sabotage. Anytime that I tried to get a new apartment, anytime that I tried to get a new job, sabotage. They actually set up a job for me to go work at, and I just worked there for 6 months and I just quit. Or she let me go, but it wasn't working out. That's all she would say, because I think legally it's just not really, yeah. But we're going to have to deal with that, because that was a completely fake cutout that I got. It's a real job, but it wasn't for me. And I think it's weird that I even have to say that, because like I could immediately tell, because the entire time that I was there, it was just one big humiliation ritual. It was, let's make her the emotional punching bag. And then also in the building, it was a building that was actually used to be the senators here. Couple senators used to have that building as well in the office. So that was something that came up, right before I took the job. Like, is this something that I can trust? It was a little weird, and it turned out to be very weird. The building seemed to be angry because they would just drop heavy shit above me all the time. And it was constant. I made as many recordings as I could of my experiences. The bad thing about the high pitch whine is that it cuts most mics. It is not within the threshold of their recording capacity. So you have to get something that's stronger. And I haven't tried to do that yet. I do have a condenser mic at home, but when I'm home, it is just so hard to be here. I've got like this high pitch whine. I've got like, kind of an electrical, like feeling all the time. And then this week, and I want to say too, the 2 times that have been the worst with the energy attacks is when we had the big artificial snowstorm just here in January, which was it hit on like the 14th, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. But it was that week. And that was like an unnatural thing. And this as well. So this heat wave, they have already, I've seen like a thing where they can see where it's been warmed up. There's more like stuff in there. Anyway, there was like a duodac thing. So it's fine. There's not much that us people on the ground can do sometimes when you're dealing with this kind of level. But this is the truth. This is what I'm describing is I have no reason to go here, but I have to. So yeah, the 2 times that we've had these like crazy weather events, the 2 extremes, cold and hot, I am dealing with, these things to make it even harder on me or hurt me. I don't know. The thing that made me most concerned last night was about 11:42 and 12:42. I do feel like I was targeted right at my neck in my bathroom, and I was making a really big deal about it. I did not feel safe, and I, at the end of this week, and it's every day of that, I was really, really upset, and it basically makes it so that I can't sleep, and I'm just kind of, if I feel like it's being pointed at me, I might move. And I understand how this sounds, and it's definitely not something I want to have to include here, but I'm not going to omit it. I'm not going to admit it at all. I'm going to leave it in. I want to be completely transparent because I think the amount of bullshit that's going on here is obvious that, there's more to it. Like, it's not even like a normal situation. So like, maybe you can actually like, give me just a little bit of grace there. And, I don't know, just be open-minded. That's all you can really do. Cause I don't want to be here dealing with this, but, I'll go on and explain, right now, since this is my house, like, or my apartment, like, I don't have anywhere, to go. I am planning on moving out. But with all the stuff that has happened, I'm trying to do that in a way that, my life remains like safe and stable. So we're going to see how that goes because, whenever you try to leave a violent domestic situation, which I do believe this is still related to, that is where you really have to worry about it. And that is where I find myself. So I'm going to have to speak, in those terms. And I want to say that, if I jump around a little bit, I'm very sorry. I'm going to try to edit it if I get a chance. I might not get that chance, so we'll have to see. But I'm going to try to keep it a little bit quickly because we just have a few pages to go. Anyway, we have August 2025. I was working down at the UPS store in Nashville, and I had a man approach me in the parking lot where I live here, and he basically struck up a conversation, and it turns out, like he's a neighbor, he owns a business a couple doors down. He's in a band with like a, friend of a friend, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And these are just, acquaintance people, but, we have met some of the people in the community, mostly people that my parents introduced me to. I haven't really met many people here because I've kind of been dealing with this since I've got here. I was only here for like a few months before. Excuse me. And so this man was a CPA down here, and he offered me an interview because he said that he was interviewing, and I would have loved to have a shorter commute and just be able to work next door to my building. So I was like, sure, I'll come in for an interview, and we set it up, and I go in, and it turns out I end up kind of feeling weird about it. I say I'm just probably going to stay where I'm at or something. He invites me to go swimming afterwards. No problem. And he didn't exactly tell me until after, like at the end of the night, that he, probably was just going to go with the guy that was like somebody's son or something. It was like total bullshit interview. I found out at the end of the night, but we go swimming. He tells me we're going to go to the river. It's like, so hot that day. So I went, sure. And, So, and yeah, and it was just kind of like, I hate that. Like I'm too nice and kind of trusting, and I kind of ran into a lot of these people. So like looking back, I think that's why it's really hard for me to get through, because it's emotional baggage and it's still very fresh. And I just hope that you'll be patient while I go through this. But anyway, we went down to the river. He, as he pulls off the road, he hits the guardrail. He scrapes along it with his truck. And this was a deliberate accident that he caused. Then he scraped back to get out or whatever. I don't know. He did it a few times to where he's adjusting, and it's making it worse because now we're all like tossling in a car accident. And, I have like back problems. And so that hurt me. It still bothers me to this day. I basically was kind of in shock, I think, a little bit. And I ended up like crying because he kept asking these really personal questions. It was a really fucked up situation. And then, he kept trying to like date me and do that like induced conversation that like narcissists will do and stuff. And like, so there were a couple times where it's like, I went out to grab a drink because he's like, oh, I want you to meet this, old band guy that I'm friends with or something. And I felt like, because he's my neighbor, kind of like obligated to not make waves. And eventually, after like a week and a half, I think I just had to block him and say, fuck this guy, because it's like he's trying to like date me and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that. And I'm just like confused now because I'm like, I don't know like why he's being so pushy. And like this whole thing is just, weird. And I do believe that guy was put up to go talk to me and to get to me, because, I was being so closed off. And if you're stalking a girl, like you want to be able to get closer, and you're already, using her phone, all this stuff. It's like I replaced my phone, but that only lasted for a little while. I think, there's like Pegasus or whatever. It's like, I wasn't able to really feel like I ever got away from my phone being hacked. And that's just what I've had to live through. And so psychologically, when you're dealing with this level of oppression and you feel like you can't make a decision because like every decision is like, am I giving this guy that's stalking me or this group like information to hurt me? Because that's what it always is. They use the information and they hurt you. Anytime that I'm happy, they're squashing that happiness. This is demonic. It's very evil. And it has been so trying to get through. When that guy came over the last time, he showed up. I was going to say I had to mention, after the river, he took me to a Dairy Queen. And so this night he called me and just invited himself to go drop off Dairy Queen at my house. This last night I talked to him, and I don't remember the date of this, but I can get it all. I have as much receipts as I could get. It's so fucked up. I can't. I've been dealing with this alone forever. And it's really sad, to be here in our country. I'm just going to say that, because they blanket it as like, this is a personal attack against her. This is separate. This means nothing, but we just want to make fun of her. Don't you want to make fun of her? I was so disappointed in the truthers, like, but I don't even know if like they were real people or if they were just these people. So like the comments that I saw, I don't really know. But then once it, kind of bleeds into your real life, like the worst part is I don't have my Twitter now, so I can't see it all. So if anyone wants to share with me, I will start attacking, the bad information out there and speaking for myself. And that's basically what I'm trying to do here. So he tried to come over and drop off some Dairy Queen. And I didn't eat it. I ended up throwing this in the trash. But I feel bad. He comes up and then I'm like, my back's hurting, but I don't put it together yet. So I'm like laying on one of those like pressure point mats. And I had set up like this like little area where I was like watching movies like for the summer in my hallway. Like I set up like a floor bed and like a projector. And it was like this little area nook thing while my roommate was gone for like 8 months or something, just out doing cruises and stuff. He was just gone. So I had a little fun, getaway, because I don't get a getaway. And so I'm laying down in this little nook thing that I made for the minute. And I don't know, he just kind of like, lays down like next to me, but it's just kind of awkward. He talks to me and then the conversation just gets like really weird. And yeah, I got the insinuation basically that that there's like some kind of play going on. He's like, oh, you don't know what's going on. Like there's some bad people or something. Like, and just like the things that he's saying, they don't even line up with the things that people are saying that they don't understand now. It's like, I think that there's a lot of people that are just like basically gaslighting me, and it's been really hard to get anyone that will actually have a legit conversation that's within this sphere. And obviously that's going to make more sense as we go along. But yeah, he dropped off some food. He ended up telling a story that, about how he was like abused and, that made him a really kind of, person. So then I kind of felt uncomfortable. And so I was basically like, okay, like you need to get out of my house. All right. We just got a really high pitched sound. Do you guys hear that? I don't know if you hear the guy idling, but something just switched on. I don't need to hear myself or anything. That is really annoying. We're going to go on now. We're almost to Reagan. All right. So this motherfucker drops off a bag of food. He tells a story about how he's basically, he grew up in a violent household. And so now I'm afraid that he's kind of unhinged and weird. And I ask him to leave. And he leaves his phone on accident. And I have to go grab that and bring it back to him after he calls himself. And I'm not really sure how or why, but it seems like he might have dropped off a little friend, because I did have a bug incident that I believe is the reason that my roommate's cat was not, I don't know. And that is something that I believe that he brought into this house, because I did Google on the gestation period of this bug, and it is a wood bug. So it's just something that, it goes along with Scientology does this. They call it fair game. There's lots of these groups that will just kill your animals, and I think that's what happened. So I had to deal with that. And that was the worst thing probably ever, because I loved her so much, and that's why they did that. So that was like, I believe, heading into the end of August or so, because that was mid to late August now. Then we have September 2025. Obviously, Charlie Kirk is murdered. We have parallels to the Dairy Queen incident and things that were, going on with that case and others that kind of were popping up that I'll go into at this point. These are the times I'm going to speak on those. Okay. And I know I look like a hot mess. I've got men outside that are trying to distract me from this message. And then somebody's turning on a high pitch something, trying to get it. From what recording? We're just going to have to roll with it. Oh, they're fireworks. Right on. Well, I think there is a heaviness in the air this year. I think if we're not allowed to speak out as Americans, and what kind of Independence Day is that? Someone said that today. I said, that's exactly what it feels like. That is not right. We will not allow this to stand. I can't function like that. I'm sorry. So we've got, so the stuff started to be weird, because once they came out about the Dairy Queen thing, that was weird to me, but obviously that's not enough to feel like something's up. At first, I didn't have that view, obviously, but as time went on, I believe that there are the same types of people that are targeting me in this situation. And so they have incentive to do it. I also want to say that my podcast, was just going to be on culture, but that I, am like a libertarian, more like centrist, classical liberal. And I'm conservative now. And I believe in having conservative values, but then also I don't agree with all the policies that I think the party is going towards right now. And so I do believe that I'm being targeted for being one of those people that just isn't, going along with the things that they want you to go along with. And, I was part of that first initial wave where I'm still going through it, and this isn't, over, but I'm being kind of gaslit and isolated to just deal with it alone. And if no one else is locally here, it's been hard because everybody, can kind of see what's going on. They can see what I see, and it's a generational gap. But I only know my parents here, and they are involved in a situation where this is basically like a new market for Christian conservatives. And so that is very much a part of what I need to explain about, what I feel like I'm going through. And I have to kind of this is not, this is a very hostile situation right now because they don't even want me to speak the truth because they make money off the truth. I'm sorry, off their lies and obscuring the truth. This is something that, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. And I'm dealing with a lot of personal attacks and have been putting up with them, but it's getting worse. Right now, I'm actually dealing with a high-pitched whine in my ear. I knew this was going to happen. I'm totally just going to have to deal with it because you need to hear this. And if they kill me on camera, great, right? What the fuck? I can't believe that I'm here, but let's go. Breathe. All right. So we had, after Charlie Kirk was shot, and then we had the funeral and stuff, that's where, I'm with the cat and I'm crying and everything. And if you go back, we'll go there later. This is just fucked up. I feel like I'm sweating in here. I'm going to turn the fan on. Give me a minute. Take a break. You're not even on, buddy. I didn't think it would matter, but we're going to be here for a minute. Not ideal. All right. My God, psychos. I don't know, dude. Do you know what? All right, so I'm going to attempt to put these back in. Can I? Are you going to turn something up again? The hell? I don't want to listen to anything. Anyway, it's just so I can get a good feel here. All right. Killing me. They do everything they can to make me look bad so that I don't tell my fucking story. And I know I don't look great. I've been biting my nails like hell because that's what I do when I'm anxious. I actually spent about $200 back in April to get a couple manicures done. And now I'm back to square one because I am under such severe attack here. Anyway, let's fucking go. We've got... Yeah. I didn't even watch the funeral because I was crying with the cat and I couldn't do it. Leftists... quote unquote, that's what I call them. I had a bunch of people terrorize me on the way to going to work after after the shooting, my mom was doing a float for the GOP, and I didn't actually know what float it was, but I should have put it together. It was the political group that she's with that was doing this. But I was concerned about her being on a float, and she was concerned about her safety and stuff, and so I went on the float with them, and after that, I would try to go to work the next day. And that's when I was followed by a whole group of people. And one of them looked a lot like the guy with the beard that was weird, or I don't know, it looked like somebody that was maybe related to this. And I do have a video of that. Yeah, I just want to get everything out as far as what I've been able to, get down in a concise timeline, because just the details will, it's death by 1,000 cuts over here. All right. So I've got that, and that guy kind of looked familiar. So he was in like a Subaru with like all these like little toys in it. If that brings anybody to anything, but yeah. So, and then there was a few people. Okay. So I'm getting a feedback. Somebody wants to do something high pitched. No problem. Oh, they turned it up again. We got a lot more to get through. It's okay. Next. October 9th, I was fired from the UPS store, and this was in Belmead in Nashville. Okay. I was fired. I didn't know I was going to be fired. So I ended up going the next day. I had plans to go to like the gardens of Cheekwood here with my mom. She's really into gardening. So as we're doing that, that's when the plant exploded. And it was close enough that, it's not like super close, but it was nearby enough that we went, oh, like we should have heard it, or we're surprised that we didn't, or something, because that sounds like a lot. That was kind of something that, looking back, within a day of my firing, I think interesting as a point. Okay. Then we go to November 29th. Oh, I'm sorry. Switch this around. I've got November 14th. There was, I believe, and you need to double check my dates, because with the chaos, I don't have time to do all the Googling right now. But I've saved documentation, and you can easily Google these events yourself. I'm just going to go off of basically like my screen name of 1144 or whatever it is. This has been used because it's kind of like my lucky numbers. When I moved here, I changed my screen name and used those numbers. I had a completely different screen name before. The whole time I've ever had an Instagram, this is the first time I changed it to this thing. And so I changed it to just like a few numbers, and the handle is like one of my old like AIM handles, and then like new numbers. That's what this is. It's nothing that I really thought about too hard or anything like that. I through COVID, and learning about all kinds of religion, spirituality and stuff, I got into like not numerology, but just frequency, schematics, what is it? Like everything, like music. And I think just really, really exploring a lot of these like higher concepts and how they are integrated together. I started to, really just kind of love a little bit more about the numbers, and kind of feeling like, for me, it was, a little synchronicity moment or something. And I would just kind of take a screenshot on my phone, or see it and like move on. And I think a lot of people, they have moments like that where they keep it to yourself. I got a little into it. And so when these people hacked my phone, of course they see all of that. And so they just start using these numbers, thinking that it means more to me than it does, or just trying to mess with me, or maybe trying to make it negative, or I don't know. But it's been used to signal to me this entire time. And so anytime that anyone can, when we realize that the people that are these people that are at the top here, they do like numerology. A lot of these people in secret societies and all this stuff, because obviously we're talking about the Freemasons and all this shit going on. That's kind of what I'm saying, is that I believe that they just kind of started to add in their own numbers, where they were like, well, let's do 2, and then we'll do 3, and like 3 is theirs, so they would just kind of choose anything. It was like a free for all, whatever number, whatever time, 1,000,000 times a day, we're going to do this, and have continued to do it. And it's been something that has been weaponized against me, but was actually a really, really amazing thing. And it still is, they can't change what it means, but they're sure going to try. Okay. So we've got November 14th. That's when there was a FedEx plane crash. Okay. Up here in Louisville, that's our hub in this area. And I think that happened at like 1:15 or something. I'm not sure if I put the time here. You need to check the time that it happened, and it's in line with these numbers. And so when I started to have these events in the news that seemed to line up with the abuse that I was getting at home, but because they're so disconnected from your individual life, of course, people around me were saying that, if you happen to try to go to the authorities and try to help with this case because you see something, you're going to be called a live one. And we're going to actually think that you're crazy, and you'll probably be eventually like committed. And so I kind of got that treatment, to where And I understand at first, that makes sense. Like, okay, maybe I'm reading into something that it has, it's not my place. It has nothing to do with me. I don't know. Like, but I mean, I feel like everyone's supposed to kind of, try to help if they can. And so, especially if something like this starts to happen, it's way out of left field. It's most people have no idea what to do, myself included. My family, don't know what to do with this. And I'm going to go into it, but because of, Chris's connections and stuff, and the fact that like, I did call the police, like, I think that summer, the first summer that this happened, and they kind of were really dismissive and like, oh, do you live there? And just kind of, not helpful, never called me back. And then I saw them like joining in. And so from that point on, I've just really felt like these people aren't for me. And I'm just a woman that a bunch of abusive men in the area are now just allowed to abuse with impunity, and they're encouraged. And that is basically the situation that I've had to live in. And it's fine to a point like where, I'm just going to work and everything. I'm trying to figure this out. But I mean, like, it just keeps going on. And I guess it's like, it's hard to feel like anything that I try to do to mitigate it is just, it's just something else happens. And then when the only people that I do have surrounding me, unfortunately, are people that, they're involved with the church and with the GOP. And so they have a vested interest. They don't care about me as a person, but they have a vested interest in, not helping me. I don't know. There's so much more that I just feel like I wish that I could know about my own smear campaign. And I see other people know about it. And so I do think that people can come forward and tell me, not that I want to know. It's just that this is something that it's bigger than me. And these personal attacks are being used to hurt everyone. They're probably going to try to kill me, and no, they don't care about me. It's literally just because like they don't want me to speak, like that's simple. And so this has been like a long time coming, and I can't, there's not much I can do about, the threat of the violence coming from the state, that's where it's coming from. But, if they're going to do that, there's not much that we can do. But what I can do is at least speak for myself, because you completely tried to damage my reputation and everything about me. And you're just going to discard me. And what, over like an NDA? And really, I'd like to fight that. I want to go over what happened. I want to go over what happened, that entire thing. But the problem is no one has ever come to me and talked to me. And I was told to just move on. I was told not to contact people. And it just sounded like it was so convoluted and weird, and like no one would relate, and just let it go. And that didn't work. Like, that doesn't work. It never stopped. Like, these people never left my house. So I'm just ignoring you, but you're outside. And like, if I don't get any help from any of the people that I should be able to trust to help me, then we're all just kind of spinning our fucking wheels. And I'm still dealing with the situation. And at that point, people just started to tell me that I just needed to go to therapy because that was the solution. Even though before that was also the scare tactic, if you'll realize. And I tried to tell people, hey, like, I wouldn't be able to like function if I was having like this like issue where I just like went crazy, And it's like, oh no, then you're just like anxious. Well, I'm definitely traumatized now that it's been 2 years. But I basically say that I wanted to be a psychologist, a therapist. I was going to say at the same time, I wanted to be a therapist. And then after learning about it, I just chose not to. And so I choose not to go to therapy. And that's my right. I've always been like that. If I ever choose to go, like, my parents will be the first people to know, but I don't feel like that's where I want to be. And I certainly don't trust anybody in the field at this point, because, we'll get into it. But if a system like this, is obviously just going to try to use you or like provide the outcome however they want to see fit, I wouldn't trust that system, so I don't want to go into it. And that's kind of what I feel like that would be. Let's corral you over here. I just kept telling my parents, this is an outside problem, not an inside problem. And, even after that, I'm like, maybe I'll talk to somebody afterwards. Like maybe like a group or something. I don't know. This does suck, but I'd like that whole thing to be like fucking over before I can even like pick up the pieces, because I'm still in it. And it doesn't really change the fact, until I do. So we've got we've got the plane crash, which was at a certain time. Then I believe it was November 29th. There was a DC shooting. I believe that was also at a time that was concerning to me, where the National Guard was targeted. Then we have December 9th. Baron Coleman did his Mike episode. I think that was actually maybe, I'll have to look at that, but I put the 9th on here, which whenever that debuted, I believe was when my Twitter, I got a notification that I was kicked off of Twitter. So I also want to say that I had contacted them, a couple of these YouTubers. And so I think once all that started to go on, like they were trying to send me a message, killing my Twitter when he aired this big episode. So then we had January. There was a Stockton shooting in Stockton, California. It was at a birthday party. It was near Dairy Queen. It was on Thornton Road. Okay. And that's what made me like freak out, because also the number of victims, I believe it was like 11 and 4 or something, or 10 and 4, something like that. Totally disconnected from my life. But obviously, if there are people that are kind of doing like the stuff that they're doing to me in these organized groups, they're basically causing an event to scare me, so that I see it in the news. I don't know how like I happen to catch some, like I've started unsubscribing from news channels because this was really starting to upset me so badly. Obviously, but I also felt like I couldn't share the information that I had, because then I'm threatened from all sides, or it just seems a little sketch for me to even be able to try to help. And I didn't like that at all, because that goes against everything that I feel inside and believe. Because if somebody's hurt somewhere, like, and you can do something about it, I don't know. It's rough. And I've been mocked for having this empathy, by these people that don't have it. So you just have to, I don't know. It's more a reflection of them, but yeah, I'm starting to get freaked out because I'm just like, I can't breathe when I do it. So we've got the January Stockton shooting. That was it. Yes, we got that. And I want to say at the time I saw a newscaster that was reporting it. I want to say the Fox station down there, which would be Fox 40, but I don't remember. I wasn't able to find this actual newscaster, but I think she was blonde. Her name was Marianne. I think she spelled exactly the way that I do, which is like Marianne. And so that like freaked me out the night that I saw that. And then it's literally like the newscaster is me. And now I'm like, was that AI or like, what was that? Because now I cannot find like the newscaster specifically. If anyone can, that would be cool. But I've went back and tried to find that clip, and I can't find that specific one. But the rest of it, I mean, I'm not really questioning whether or not I think this is a thing. I'm mentioning it because I absolutely think that it is. And of course, it makes me uneasy because this was like some like rapper gang shooting. And I don't know like what that means as far as like, obviously there's some organized crime elements going on. And they're targeting me. And this is done at the behest of probably the highest levels, I think. I'm still trying to figure this out. So we've got the next one. Christmas week. First off, the 15th, right around that time was when I got offered the co-card job, which is where I just worked. And I called it a cutout because it was obviously not done for my benefit, but done to keep me there so that I wasn't like looking into the Charlie Kirk thing anymore. Because when I was off, that's probably all I was doing. And, it's probably the same now. I'm just like, this is taken over my life. I can't do anything else because these people won't stop. And so I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the rest of everyone else is figuring out. Because for me, I'm actually like affected every day. And I don't even understand how and why I've been a part of this and why people targeted me to be a part of this. And I have to just do what I can to share what I know because I've been put in this position. And I hope that if, it was anybody else, they would at least try to understand and give grace. And then also, put yourself in someone else's shoes. This is, I'm a pretty private person. That's why I don't do things like this. I was wanting to do a podcast, which I still do. But yeah, I definitely, I'm more like a personal touch type of person. And so like I do really well with individuals. I don't really go after like, groups and stuff like that. And then, when you're dealing with like an attack like this, it's like, I don't even think this way. So I have to be attacked by like this like ruthless group of individuals who just do anything. And, for a while, I initially didn't try to do much about it because like, I just turned 40 like this year, but I don't need to be cool on the internet. I would like to have a podcast and do all that stuff, but I'm sorry, I'm having trouble because I don't know if I'm dealing with an attack or not, but I'm just not feeling well right now. It was hard to like grip this. I started to feel like my arm was getting lightheaded. I mean, I was getting lightheaded. My arm was getting weird. So I'm going to switch hands. Where was I? Oh, yes, the job. So anyway, I took the fucking job. December 15th was the first day that I started, but they offered it to me that week when all that was going on, which was like, I think around the 9th or so. And I accepted the offer and, and I was planning on leaving after that too, and trying to move away. So I decided to stay because, I wanted a good job. I'm just trying to find like, something that's stable at my age that I can just grow with. Like, that's what I'm looking for is just whether I do it myself or I do it at a company. And it's super frustrating. Anyway, so I go to work at that job. They treat me horribly. And then when I actually I'm crying there all the time. And then when I break down and want to walk out, I go to my boss and I try to talk to her about it. And then she just acts like oh, would anyone here be doing anything? I'll talk to them. And it was just, plausible deniability all day. So there was really nowhere that you can go if people are determined to misunderstand you and not, be honest with you. You're dealing with a situation where, this is a network of people, and one person is basically living like a, Truman Show existence. And that's what I was doing as well. No, I'm not the only one. And I'm probably... I probably won't be the last or something. It's like, I feel like there's a lot of people that you hear about that are being targeted, for their political views and all that right now, or even just the podcast space and the market share and the whole media sphere dying and moving around. And that's basically, I think, why this is a multi-prong attack. It was very convenient for them. I moved to Nashville. My parents got involved in these groups. And then this happened. And then they were like, well, we don't obviously care about her. So we'll just, make fun of her, whatever. They just kind of took over my life and then gaslit me about it this whole time. And I have struggled to gain the weight back that I was down at the beginning of this, and then to make sense of it at all. So anyway, we'll go to Christmas week. I had to have all these meetings with my boss because I was learning, it was hard brand services, and I've only worked in office and all kinds of stuff. So I'm learning from her a lot. And so we have all these talks. And so in the talks, obviously, she finds out things about my friends and family. Well, I talk about my grandma, and then my grandma gets rushed to the hospital. I talk about my dad, and then I get a shitty meme about something I talked about my dad, or my dad has a heart attack. We'll get there. Okay. So we have a conversation. She gets rushed to the hospital. I'm hysterical because I'm just really upset. I'm kind of done, And so I have, hello? Why is it doing that? It's weird. Anyway, I guess you'll record it if it's there. There's people stalking me currently. They're here. They're never going to leave, so we just have to move on. But yeah, go ahead and hit that guy up. Hit up all the people that I talk about, Do what you need to do with this info. I don't care. So, grandma's rushed to the hospital. I'm hysterical. I had plans to move out of the apartment here because I want my own space. I feel like the stalking's getting out of control. And because I have a mixed use place where obviously the authorities around me I can't trust. That's like my roommate was in the house years ago and ran for mayor. And so he knows everybody. And so I didn't feel like if if you can't help me to kind of figure that out, which I haven't been able to be very successful on, like, what's a good contact? Like, will someone actually be respectful? Because I'm watching these officers join in and use their cars to signal at me at these times and just drive by with a siren at 11:11 or something. And it's just like, and so no one's on the level with me. And so it's been really fun. And I basically, because I'm just a normal person who would work a job at the UPS store because I care more about my experience than I do about money. The people at this level are basically trying to ruin my life just for fun. And then they're also laughing about how they're so much better than us for just choosing not to, And it's like, I don't know, dude. I really can't anymore. Not after what's been going on, right? So anyway, I believe that my grandma, had some kind of health episode and was rushed to the hospital that day because there was like some kind of mob phone call that went out. And I obviously don't have those records, but I can tell you what happened in my life. And that's all that I can really stand by. And then we can figure the rest out later, I guess. And there were multiple instances of this kind of thing happening. So I definitely couldn't trust them. I just felt like resentful because I needed the money. So I had to go in every day and be treated like shit until I figured out something else. And since it's 40 hours now, I'm working 50-hour weeks commuting, which is why I wanted to go down there. But I ended up not wanting to get an apartment. Like I went and paid the deposit and didn't get it back or anything. So I'm just out $200. I did all this stuff to try to leave. But the email that I got back when I got approved for the apartment was at the timestamp from this stuff. I believe I got it at like 11:03. And like I got one of the attorneys I tried to contact. He also did that. He's a local guy, Vanderbilt guy, I think. I got also a time-stamped response from him saying that his caseload wasn't available, but I think it was a political decision. And it's fine. I really feel like because the judicial is being gutted right now, it's been really hard for me to find an attorney anywhere. I've mostly contacted civil rights and even federal whistleblowers, even though I'm not like that. But I just want to be able to get high enough because I think this is something that is obviously coming from, the cabinet, the president, the people that are in charge, this current administration and everything that goes along with it. And I want to say, too, that in 2021, I was on Alex Stein's podcast, and Alex Stein, when Charlie, would go out on the road, the last couple of years has been out there with him. So that might help to also, and then like, I knew Scott Horton from years ago, friends in the libertarian movement. So all these people are huge targets right now to these people. And I happen to live in, an area and a house, physical location where I'm an easy target that if I'm isolated, they can just try to do what they've done. And it's been just like it sounds. I was really happy when this happened to me. And I mean, I don't know, like I'm just surviving. I'm hoping that our country can survive this as well. And I've done my best to try to stay positive through this. Like the day that was it? Trying to remember which event. I want to say it was the Stockton shooting, and I had to go back. No, because it was November. Okay. So So I think the DC shooting on the 29th, I want to say maybe that was the one, but it might be the 14th with the FedEx plane. One of those, I was buying Bibles for my family. I went into the store and I bought a couple Bibles because things were so dark, and my parents and I, like, you know, we weren't religious where we were from. Like, I had went to church when I was younger with friends. My parents were both raised Catholic, and then they stopped going, and then so they got into, like, they kind of wanted to go, especially after Charlie passed. Wanted to go to church and had started going. And so I wanted to get them Bibles because it was so important to me, and I wanted to encourage that for them to have, like, their own relationship. And I don't go to church. Like, I've always had a hard time with organized religion or letting any man kind of be that. And it's mostly, I'm not seeing it get any better as far as I feel right now, the hypocriteness and stuff like that. So I like to worship on my own and learn on my own. And that's just how I am. I don't think, anyone that would ridicule you for not going, it's kind of doesn't make sense to me, because back in the day, it's like, what if you guys, like, lived away from, like, a major church, or, like, a little, you know, like, back when you were first settling here, it's like you weren't shaming people for, you know, not going to, like, a physical building. Like, you prayed where you were, and you don't have to, like, share it with other people. So I think that that's kind of a trap. But that has been put on me here is my, my beliefs and everything about me. I mean, the smear campaign, I realized, you know, obviously don't take advice from someone you never want to be, but I was being attacked for both sides of an attribute. And then I realized it would just fall apart because I can't be both things. And these people they don't know you, and they don't really do a good job. Like, it almost feels like they just make this straw man and then, like, attack that. And then, like, I guess that's good because it didn't hurt me, but it was really weird to watch. And, like, it sucks when, people that do take these jobs for goodies, like, you know, like, that's some of those friends I did have, and those people definitely did disappoint me, and I blocked them now. So I did try to reach out and see if anybody would start to maybe help me see what's going on as far as my reputation or what people are saying about me. And, like, I unfortunately, the people that were industry people that are not my friends, some acquaintances, I'm saying, it's just, they definitely, they haven't changed. And I guess if they were given the option, that's what they would do. And they did. And so I, over the last couple of years, I was not, I thought I was going to get married, and then I didn't. And, that, I think you just grow up and you change. I stopped going out. I moved back to San Diego. I didn't want to just hang out with everybody I ever knew. So, like, I didn't really try to develop a lot of things there, and then ended up leaving because of everything that, it was just not really worth paying for San Diego anymore, given, like, everyone's kind of migrating. So I decided to do that and try something new. But yeah, it is extremely hard to be in a city where you know hardly anyone. And this is what's happening. And I do think that I'm so thankful that at least there are pockets of truth still, while there is a lot of people trying to, obfuscate that truth. So I am encouraged by the helpers, and I appreciate, listening. If you can just, I think I'm done with half of it. I'm like, oh, it's so crazy. Okay. So fake setup, went to drinks down. Okay. Hold on. Oh yeah. That was okay. So I realized that I had went to drinks with my mom, and I think that's when I saw an agent downstairs, and he set the job up. He asked, there was a guy, I just realized this recently. There was a guy down there, and he asked me what kind of job I'd like if I were to do something. And he was, like, really weird. Like, you can get a Fed sense. And I got, like, a sketch Fed sense. Like it was the same kind of behavior that all these people that keep trying to target me were doing, where they walk up to you and they say something, and they're like, oh yeah, like, this person's this, like, describing their race, and then hoping that I'll do it too. And, like, I was approached like that at my work at the UPS store in Bellmead. They had my coworkers do that. It was so fucking awkward to look back on now, but that's what they did. That's what they did. And my coworker, Joe, actually, he's from Texas. It was super weird. I'm pretty sure that agent came over and he mentioned New Braunfels. He said he wanted to move there right after like that whole week. I think it was the same week I got fired. I'm pretty sure that guy showed up. He told me to have a nice day. And then I got fired on Friday or so, or Thursday. Pretty sure that he came into the store because if it's that guy, and I when I saw him out here, I couldn't place him immediately because I didn't know like where I'd seen him because I help a million people at a job like that. But I've since put it together that there was an agent that came to my work at the UPS store, talked to my coworkers. Excuse me. Everyone was trying to get me in compromising situations that have no basis in reality or my values. And then, oh yeah, of what he was doing at the bar. So he was acting like he was really, really drunk. And to the point where it was over the top. And I could tell that he wanted to basically make a situation where I would feel bad because I didn't call the cops on his driving. I think he was trying to act like a guy who I should have been the responsible person. But it's like, you know, the bartender that was there, like the owner, she was actually saying that guy was such a dick and that she just wanted him to leave as that was happening. And that he always comes in and causes problems, like all this stuff. And so it was basically like, I need to just let this guy walk out. And I'm really glad I did because it was just a weird interaction. I was like, I'm not going to let this person like drop this like guilt bomb because I can tell that it's bullshit. And I don't think this person's being for real. But anyway, I mean, he bought me like, he bought me and my mom shots of something that has like a fucking jalapeno in it, which I don't like. So he's done his research on me. And then he also, he did pay for whatever we were drinking, but it was just really weird. It was like, he just kind of cozies up to us. And that's exactly the type of stuff. Like you also need to hear what I'm saying and be a little bit more skeptical because like right now, like there's just so much, bad actors going around, I think, especially targeting people that, have something that they want, have talent that they don't have. I mean, anything. There are people right now that they're really thinking that like if they're just willing to be more ruthless than you, then like that's how they're going to get ahead, and like that if no one questions them, we're in a really scary time right now because there's a lot of people where money talks, and that's the only thing that people are worshiping. Anyway, so now we're almost to the end of 2025. Okay, so I took that job from 12:15 to I just ended at 6:10, which I was really happy. It's actually pretty shitty that I'm doing so fucking badly this week with the abuse because when I quit the job and was able to sleep, I felt better, but that wasn't good for them. So they had to start attacking me again. If I'm happy, there's a problem. If I have energy to do something about it, there's a fucking problem to them. That's a problem for me if you even fucking act like you're not trying to control all of my movements. What's that called? Human fucking trafficking. Let's move on. I just realized that too, and that was fun to realize about your own life. And hey, you're going to tell me, oh, look up Chris's record, actually. He had a aggravated stalking from stalking a 17-year-old. And I'm sure that he was super helpful when he was rescuing people. I'm sure that he doesn't have all the tactics to heart, and now he's just using them. I mean, really, as a woman, he told me he would never be abusive. That was so funny. He was absolutely crazy. Absolutely. I think that guy's pretty scary just because what he's willing to do, how happy he was. At the end of that call, I was going to say I get the feeling now that I'm really going over it all. I'm looking at the messages. I'm realizing how much of a setup this was. I'm realizing how nice I was. I'm realizing like a lot, right? Like he was so like, I'm going to get you at the end of the call. Like he really had this end in mind and he just kind of pushed me into it. And that's how I felt. I felt like almost like I was giving like a like you're kind of forced into confession or something. Like it was what they call it is entrapment. And I'll go with that because it's exactly what it is. And there's so many things. It goes along with, previous situations. And I really, at this time, I really just feel like I wasn't privy to the stuff that we've all found out by now about like who these people are, what they do with their time, who they're targeting, how they will treat us. So yeah, and I really would love to get into that because it's it's like the past situation was also due to like this kind of thing, and so it's interesting. But I don't want to get into that just now. I want to be able to breathe for a fucking second. So anyway, that's putting that job together. April 2026. I guess we'll just say that the spring, not that eventful. We had like the big weather storm in January, which was done over that week. Excuse me. Back's starting to kill me right in that spot that's been bugging me since that car accident, which he had his car repaired really quickly. And so I thought that, he just had it done like under the table. I'd never get any help and I just didn't file anything. But later I thought that I should. It's still within the 2 years. And I'm still in pain. So I'm not putting it off the table of getting some representation and going through that if that's something that we should do. But I don't know how far I would get as far as I don't know how to find a record if he's got this kind of help. I'm not really sure what can be done. I didn't want anything to do with this person. So I just moved on and dealt with the pain and just trying to move on with my life. And I just maintained that I want to be left alone from all these people. And I feel like they're doing their best to, they're definitely going to try to sabotage me. And they're definitely not going to be happy about this, but I have to do what's right for me. And I have to tell, my story and what I'm going through. And no one should ever have a problem with that. Unless you're not supportive. So we've got a couple more things to get through. We got April 2026. On the 10th of April, which is 410, so in line with these numbers, my dad had a massive heart attack. He was, he coded. I was not there. He coded for 10 minutes. Then they brought him back on the 12th. Okay. And I got the call on the 11th, the next day. And I was actually, it was like Saturday afternoon or Saturday, maybe like 11. I was just getting up and I was just about to start calling more attorneys to try to figure this out. And then I got a call from my stepmom and she told me what happened. And they were on vacation across the country. And it still was just like, and he told me that he'd been having kind of some kind of chest pain for like the last couple weeks and stuff. But this is the thing. I believe that he might have been targeted with one of these energy weapons. And I do believe that they're also possibly using them at my parents' house. Just from my mom, she doesn't believe in this stuff, but she's mentioning she's got hand pain and that she has been getting anxiety and she's confused because she's like, I've never had anxiety. I never even understood it my entire life. And she's like over 60, it's just things like that. I'm just saying they can't hear the frequency. And so it's extremely insidious. That's why I can't have them come over and go, can you hear this? They're like, kind of. It's just not the same. And so age is a thing. There's a lot of, and then like with the generational gap, like they certainly don't see what I see as far as like what's going wrong with the situation in my targeting and how this is literally it's so out of bounds and so like wrong of these grown men to target the daughter of somebody or like whatever. Just I'm a random person to you and like you need to back off. And so this is just getting really, really bad because I just every single one of these people is getting up and making decisions. And I don't know how they would just be so confident that this is okay. And it kind of blows my mind. So he had a heart attack. They brought him back. She tells me, then I'm like really sad. I don't even know if I think I did start calling, but I was obviously like exhausted, tired, freaking out, numb. The 12th, April 12th, Trump posted the doctor photo, which is just the Rothschild Red Cross thing. So I am numb. Because at that point, I just went, what the fuck is going on? You know, like, and you have to look at the picture. And I know how this sounds, but you have to look at the picture. It looks like my father. The picture he posted looks like my father, as he looks now. I feel like people said that he'd also posted it in the past. So I want to see, like, when was that first posted? Like, what is this? You know, I don't really understand what I'm looking at, but now I feel like very uneasy. We've got May 2026. My birthday happens on May 6th. Okay. Dave Smith posted his podcast, and the video time seemed to be in line with the numbers that we're talking about. And since it was my birthday, excuse me, I reached out to my friend and I went, hey, how do I get a hold of Dave? With all this that I've been dealing with, this seems like a signal, especially, you know, that's kind of 2 data points in one. So like I might reach out to him. And it was like, yeah, like try Twitter. I don't have my Twitter because, you know, it's been removed. My Twitter was reported, and so I still don't have access to it. And I've never tweeted a thing with it. Excuse me. The one that they reported was the podcast one I had set up, and I've never used. So next, and that was for it was called the Disappointed Idealist Podcast, but I haven't started it. I guess here we are. Anyway, about, did I say within the hour? Within an hour or two, someone had lit the Bon Jovi building in downtown Nashville on fire. And let me give you a little backstory. The Bon Jovi connection is that there is a YouTuber named Izzy Griffin, and he says that his dad worked in Bon Jovi. He knows some of the podcast people I know. When this first started to happen, I was starting to watch his podcast that he had just started. He was kind of getting into a lot of, occult stuff. I don't know, just breaking down like that thing, whatever, for people. I'm sorry. And so I watched it, but as I was watching it, there were moments where I started to feel like he was addressing the situation again. And I wasn't sure, but it weirded me out enough that I stopped watching him. And then I think, God, I don't know what month it was, but give me a second. Whatever the night was that Ian Carroll went on Baron Coleman's podcast, I stopped watching at this point because this pissed me off. But Ian and him broke down some of the video footage from the shooting, or it's not shooting, sorry, from the murder. They broke down some of the footage, and they were like, "Whoa, you see something like flying out? Does this look like a bug or whatever?" And I took that to be like making fun of the situation with the cat, because the cat was killed by a bug, a big orange bug, and so that was one night. And I think maybe, I don't know if it was the night before or the night after, but someone did a super chat, and it said Izzy or something. And then like the picture was like this like white picture of like a girl. And it looks like me. Like, so, and then the comment was that I ugly cried more than Erica Kirk, like over my cat dying, like than she did or something. And like, basically, I think they also notate like the time that it happened, which was, when the memorial was happening was when I was crying over the cat. So it's a comment like that. If you go find it, it was a super chat. I took a screenshot. I don't have that right now. I have so many things that I have to go through. And when I'm literally dealing with what I'm dealing with, it's just made it hard to live and function. And it's wearing on me. I'm like yawning now. This is, I don't know. I'm just hoping that there are still good people out there that will figure this out. Because there's not much that I can do by myself, and I recognize that. But at the same time, I can't just like let these people abuse me because I know what's happening and I know it's wrong. And I'm just disgusted that they would even, continuously do this. But I understand it seems to be just about like money, power, status, all the regular stuff. And then, we have now this like religious evil component thing. I don't know what's happening. Everybody's willing to just, I don't know. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah. April 1st, I have on here. Cell shutdown, major U.S. outage, and Cash thinks he's fired as he was logged out of his computer. So I believe that was on the 1st of April. I put that above the other one. But yeah, there was a day where it goes in line with these numbers. And I do believe that that memeing group of guys is behind this. And obviously, he does come to Nashville. It's not that weird. And all the players in Nashville, there's a lot of people like John, or what is it? It's John Rich. He's in the cabinet. He's got, access to the president. Everybody's here. So it's not like it's not, that close or anything. I mean, my roommate was going to DC quite a bit over, the past couple months. So I don't know. Anyway, we've got June 10th. That's the last day that I worked at CoCard here. And I basically, it became an attendance medical issue because now I'm just dragging myself in there, the stress and humiliation and everything that I've had to put up with to go to that job. I'm going to have to try to see what goes on with unemployment. I'm curious because that's going to be fun. But hopefully they tell the truth about what happened. I don't think that they will, but I'm not willing to lie under oath, and I hope that they do not either. We've got June 11th and 12th. There was a woman kidnapped from an area in South Carolina. It's visible from an FBI office. So right after I left my job, two different things happened that were, terroristic threats and very real. And I'd like somebody to do something. So like once I share this, I do plan on sharing it or, whatever. This needs to at least be part of it. I don't understand. But there, for some reason, some group is sending me a message. And of course I'm afraid to answer that call, but I think it's worse to never do it. I don't know. I don't know what this is, but it's not okay. And I mean, the alternative isn't much better. So anyway, a girl was kidnapped, and I hope she's okay. I don't know what's going on, but I believe that was used to send a message of what would happen to me. That's why I think this is more important, because I think that, I can move out of this apartment. I can go try to start my life, but I don't see these people really giving me the space to do so with the way that they've been acting. I don't really feel safe knowing that I'm the only one that's sitting here and like trying to, protect myself. I don't need like that, that why would I like continuously just, I don't know, put up with that and then stay there. It's been long enough, and I think now's the time. I'm all about God's timing, and that's what this has been. That's what it means to me. It basically means God's timing. Okay. We've got here's another thing. So they're trying to hurt me through my friends and family, right? I tell them I want to send my cousin a gift because she's got cancer and she's a nurse. So I lose my job. They bomb, or I'm sorry, I don't know. They set fire to, it's an investigation right now. They set fire to the Medtronic building in Tracy, California. Huge explosion. I don't think it's an explosion. I'm sorry, but that's over there. I'm getting delirious now. You'll have to apologize. I mean, I'll have to apologize because I'm not going to be as eloquent. I'm very eloquent if I get some sleep and I'm actually treated well. But this is almost, I was afraid that I was going to die last night. I didn't know if I would make it. I'm going to be 100% real with you. I thought they're really ramping this up, and I am really like starting to feel pain from the instrumentation of this shit. And I know that, like Amy and a lot of like that scientist. Like she seems like kind of similar, you know. I feel like a lot of us are just like, man, like a lot of these people, you know, they're not protected either. It seems like no matter how high you go, how important you are, if somebody wants that. So, but I see a lot of what's happening in these stories too. And so like it's nothing, none of this is lost on me. And I would love to represent myself better so that, you know, maybe you take me seriously and not just dismiss me. But I literally don't have any more time to rest, and I don't know if I'll get it, and I don't know what's to come. And I don't have a lot of control because I'm one girl, and, you know, if a guy just around here just wants to, it's like, whatever. So, obviously, like, there are risks for them too, and, you know, getting caught and everything, but I feel like most people, in this situation are just very emboldened, and it's along the same lines as, they seem overly confident because they've just kind of decided to take the rules out of the game. And I don't know how long that's going to hold up to scrutiny, you know? So anyway, we're going to get back. I don't know if there was an explosion with Medtronic. I don't know why I said that. I'm getting tired, so I apologize. We've got two different stand-up routines that I should mention. One was a Don't Tell comedy video set in July 2025. What's the short guy? He's like, I don't know. I'll get it. But that one was sent to me. I'm like, I don't even have my phone. Hold on, let me grab it. I'm going to take a break. Hold on. Okay. Well, I'm going to get it out there without having all the details. And if I can put a clarification later, I will. The Don't Tell comedy video that was sent to me, it's a short guy. He's I guess, a little person, and did some jokes on how the mayor wants to game and like all this stuff. I don't know. So if you want to look for that, that was sent to me in July 2025 by someone who I'm not friends with anymore, but was for a very long time. I believe he was probably the first person to hack my first iPhone. And that's kind of, you know, the first iteration of this shit came from, which I was insinuating at the beginning that, you know, it kind of reverts back to like another thing that happened that was messed up where my phone was hacked. And so Jordan and I go way back, but not anymore. He sent me this comedy video in July 2025, and I realized, I mean, it took me a couple weeks to like put it together, but basically it was, I forgot. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's called Working at Walmart. Adam Gilbert, that's his name. Okay, Adam Gilbert from he did his set there at Don't Tell Comedy. And that like little thing was basically, I guess, written to make fun of me. Like, so they send that whole bit over about working at Walmart. It's, you know, making fun of the blue shirt because I work in retail because I'm at the UPS store. So they make this comedy special. Then they have Jordan send it. And then that weekend, I think it was like, God, I'm trying to remember if it was like, it wasn't the 4th because I wouldn't have been just sitting here. I put August, but I actually feel like it was Memorial Day weekend, if I'm being honest. So I might have messed up on my timeline. So I think it was Memorial Day weekend, if I remember correctly. And that's why it was a holiday weekend when a bunch of people showed up here and were playing the sounds like cha-ching sounds or some kind of sounds like of working in retail outside. And they were matching like, you know, to the video and like music that I had like heard before. I think that Gray America had sent me, like they were playing some of the same types of stuff. And so I put it together that like all these people were in contact and like, you know, it was obviously still going on. And I didn't know what to do because I don't really feel like I know anyone here. And so I wasn't going to go out to the street and like, engage with people like that. So I just like kind of, for a while, I tried to ignore it, and then I'd gather evidence, and then I'd be like, okay, ignore it again. And, because you don't want to give them power. You don't want to give them clout. Like, I really didn't know like what they wanted, what they were doing here. And still to this day, I don't really know what purpose it serves to drive around the block here, unless it's just to intimidate me. Like, so just your presence is the point, And what bothers me is that the people, like my roommate and my landlord, like Joshua, like he's here, but then it doesn't bother him for a while. And then I say, hey, I'm going to try to find people like an attorney, or, if I can get enough information, then maybe I'll be believed if I can go to the authorities and I can try to, bring all this, and it won't sound, like something they can actually digest. And all of this, I was pretty much dismissed, gaslit, and then told that, I guess, they always try to make it feel like no one's going to believe you. No one's going to be able to follow this. You must be really upset about it though. And like, you must need help. And it was like, here's the solution, like we already had in mind, and like no care and complete dismissal. And, it's getting to a point where at this point, let's get there. So we had that one. And then, in April, we also had stand up in April too, from David Cross. He had a set at the 40 Watt in outside of Atlanta. And I actually have an old friend that I had to block through this situation. He, Owen Hunt, he is friends with the Gray America guys and a lot of those podcast guys that I had met on the right-ish, whatever, in like kind of spirituality, circles. And so I know that he does a lot of work there as far as like, I guess, what do you call them? MC comics, whatever. So he's paying his dues. He's learning his craft, that kind of thing. So he's at all the big places. He'll open up for some people. He's doing his thing. Great. Well, he did a couple jokes that I do believe were about this. And then there was just the last one. The first joke, he starts out and he talks about how easy it is to make a guy come. And it's kind of like, you could be a retard, basically. And number two, he talks about how you could have a room full of shoes and how retarded that is. Well, you know what? I've got a room full of shoes here. I have a whole closet full of brand new shoes that I can't wear because I'm not going out because I'm being stalked to death for 2 years. So actually, I didn't find that one very funny, but I do think that it was possibly referencing the situation, as ridiculous as it sounds. He even actually at the end says that he was really upset. And I have a feeling that there's more to the story as far as what he's talking about. And I almost got the feeling watching the set. Apparently he's doing a bunch of specials, so I didn't watch anymore. I didn't really want to see anymore, but I don't know if you're a fan, is he doing more stuff? I don't know. Maybe I would get the joke. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe somebody wouldn't know. Like, it seemed to me that people might have been laughing about it or known what the jokes were about it. When the Don't Tell Comedy thing was sent to me, people in the comments were like, oh, I know who this is about. And like, you could read the comments and you can kind of get like how I might feel if I thought that. So, and I know how this sounds, but I know comedians, I know musicians. It's not really that crazy. At the end of the day, we all have a big network, I'm sure, if you've lived on this planet at all. And you didn't need the internet to tell you how connected we are. And it is a really, really small world, especially when you start getting into the weeds of these industries. And I never wanted to be really like there, but then I also kind of grew up around it. And so I think it's kind of hard because the way that these people have treated me is to try to lob the accusation that I'm, a woman that values money and looks for men based on that alone. Or, I'm just this materialist, which I'm not. I'm not a materialist at all. So they try to like project things that like have no basis in reality about like me and like my character and like what I'm about. And that's kind of been like difficult to go through. But, like when it's just the internet and, you're a grown adult, you kind of just like let it go. But it has become such a bigger deal that, continues to keep coming, and it's wrong. It's wrong information. It's bad data. It's obviously a personal attack to generate a specific outcome. There are many things that are wrong with the way that this has been handled. And I am ready to try to start to fix that. I would like some help on trying to safely move out of this building because I do feel like I can't trust a lot of people here, and I feel like yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I have a feeling that, you know, eventually, well, I don't even want to say it. I say, let no weapon formed against me prosper. And he's got it. And I spent a lot of time with my Bible last night. And I was trying to read, you know, and think of Charlie and try to think of what, you know, I guess what we really could do now, or how are we really checking in? How are we feeling? And I read Daniel because he really loved Daniel. And I'll tell you, it's pretty relevant right now. So I think we should all, you know, just try to play, you know, the best that you can. You're like, try to play your part the best you can, because that's all it is. It's a temporary place and gift that we get. And I've had to completely confront the fact that people want to probably, you know, get rid of me possibly. And just because they, you know, they have all these things that they want to do, which is against what, you know, most people, and myself included, would want for our future. And so instead of engaging with the ideas, they're willing to, you know, ruthlessly attack and maim people, and even worse. And I don't see how people can't see that, you know, it's no different no matter where it's happening in the world. If it's happening by the same people, I don't understand how you think that they would treat you well forever. Because we know that about people, that, you know, if they treat one person one way, they're probably going to treat you that way later. And it's a really simple concept that somehow we're not really thinking of all the time. I don't know. We need to just, it's kind of like the golden rule, right? But yeah, at the end of that, he did a finale joke where he talked about a magical excursion to Machu Picchu or whatever. I don't know how you say it. Machu Picchu. I'm going to fuck that up. I'm sorry. Tired. Don't care right now. This one made me perk up a little bit. Just because back around the time that you know, I was dealing with the cat thing and the Charlie thing and just being stalked by leftists after that. I mean, it was just that was when my roommate went there. I'm pretty sure he was on that same trip, is what I am insinuating here. I don't know. I'm saying allegedly. You'd have to check his travel dates, and that's something that, you know, I don't have access to. But if Mr. Cross went in late August of 2025 on that trip, and he sat in the same train car as my roommate and then bragged about it on stage during his set, that the hikers, or maybe the middle class, yeah, it just seems like they both decided to take the train, and then they decided to both pat themselves on the back for that, because everyone else on the ground that just chose to take the hike and work the jobs and just kind of, you know, they're not men of leisure. They're not like us. See, like, we're better. Like, it was really mocking. And I remember how he said it. You can go back and watch the whole thing if you want. But think of it with that context in mind. That's how I watched that stand-up set. And I think it came out right. Was it the 1st of April this year? I don't know. It was right after. I mean, it was just a few days. It must have been filmed maybe that day, is my guess. But I think it was released just a few days after. And that was only 3 months ago. So yeah, I don't know. That one kind of took it out of me a little bit. And that's kind of why I feel like well, the last thing I'll say is how I found out Charlie Kirk died. It's not the last thing I'll say, but how I found out Charlie Kirk died was my roommate Joshua sending me Trump's 440 tweet, which on the West Coast is what, 140? Did somebody say 140? I don't know where they pulled that from, but 440 tweet it said on my end. And looking back now, that's a signal. Why he sent that screenshot to me, and then I said, "Oh my God, I thought he was stable or critical or something," and he's like, "No." I left work that day and my phone reset. It was really weird. Same thing happened on that one day that was like the phone reset day. I just think, well, I know that my old boss, David, at the store knows my roommate and landlord here, Joshua. They were already friends because they both Joshua used to own the UPS store near my house. So they knew each other from doing that for years. So they're in communication. So it's not that hard to assume that this would be very easy to do if you wanted to. Okay. Then you have to understand that now that my parents are going to church, they're going to the church around the corner, which is like basically the GOP church in the area. That pastor has went over and is doing those trips right now. He just went in December, I think. So I'm going to look over this and see if there's anything else I need to add. But I don't think so. Well, other than to say the initial time that I had my phone hacked, I talked about, I think about in 2014 or so. When this situation happened now, I had a few people pop up on my people you may know. And I have went and pulled those screenshots. Red Band and I did get Cash. And then I also got Bongino popping up, but I only got screenshots of, well, yeah, I only got screenshots of everyone but Cash. So that one kind of freaked me out because I had never had any idea who either one of them were until they got hired. And then because he's looking at me, and then I'm just like freaked out, like what's going on? And then I think the Red Band thing is basically that I used to watch him all the time. And I think that they might have been privy to the first situation now that they popped up on this second one. Or, it's a small world and maybe we all just know some of the same people. But considering the next thing that I do want to mention this is that let's add some context to why I'm afraid for my life currently. Okay. When I worked at that job, besides all the other stuff I mentioned, excuse me, the day my dad had the heart attack, I called in to the processor that was the one that I was supposed to be set up to support. I was like, that was my processor. So I'm calling them and I end up like feeling really weird because it's like I'd have interactions with them and they were all basically told to treat me like shit. Like, so it didn't matter who I came in contact with in this job. I was just kind of always treated like that. So it's not organic, right? But yeah, this girl Claire, or this lady Claire, she sounds older, right? She made me feel really uncomfortable because she told a story about how she was in the hospital, and then she just kind of said, like in so many words, like if something were to happen to you, like, well, what would you do or something? And it reminded me of, the conversations that we've all been talking about. It rubbed me the wrong way. I got like a chill, like it was really inappropriate and it just made me feel weird. And then and I also, before I talked to her, I found out that day that my uncle works at this processor, which I didn't know. And he's been there for like a decade. So it was very like, message, like, here, your uncle's here and here's your dad. Like the next day I find out my dad is targeted, has a heart attack, almost dies. Thank God he didn't. He bit the shit out of his tongue. Apparently it's fine now. He's doing better. But I mean, what's going on with me? I don't know how much time I'll get with them. I moved out here to be close to them. I try to prioritize my parents, and like after everything that we've all been through, wanted to be around. Right now, this is all I have time for. This is all my energy goes to, and it's draining me. And so when someone like my roommate tells me that, like I might be committed if I try to get help, or that like last night I was being very, very upset because I really felt like I was being targeted. And I had two different moments at 11:42 and 12:42 where I believed that they were targeting my throat. And I have a recording of it. I've been recording everything that I can the past couple of days, and off and on through this time. It's like you kind of go back and forth because it's like, does anyone care? I guess I'll have more than nothing, and it's just, you don't ever know what's coming down the pike, I guess. So just bear with me. But yeah, it makes me really sick to have to live this. And another thing too is I know so because at the beginning of this, the pastor from this church, it's Purpose Life Church, is Pastor Arlen Smith. He tweeted, "The covenant is bloody" or something on February, was it 23rd, 2025, which was, I believe, like the next day after I found out my phone was hacked, and I went and told Joshua, and then he told me to block them. So after I informed my roommate of what was going on and how upset I was, it seems like he got together with this guy and then tweeted that this Old Testament covenant that we've already fulfilled, but it's bloody. So I take that as a threat. And I saw that months later, and I did try to talk to my parents about it, and I tried to tell them. That's when we all started to realize what's going on with the infiltration, especially in my area right now. And yeah, I'm not getting anywhere. I mean, at this point, I called my mom at 12:45 last night when that was happening, and I tried to call her today, and she's not answering. And I know that they go to church today with that pastor. So my mom has ignored my calls today. They have completely taken my parents from me and tried to literally take them off this earth. So I don't feel safe, but I have to do what I have to do. So this is the situation that I find myself in. These are the players. These are the mechanisms of control. And I'm so sorry to have to share any of this because it is so dark, but I'm hoping that, the law is forever and we will figure out how to save this country. I do want to say that on the call I was, that I had with Chris, like I had like no sleep, and I was being pushed into that. And then also all the stuff that I was complaining about, like in people, I've had a lot of perspective here. I was very frustrated about how I was being treated by the leftist, my ex. That's what I was referring to, is how they are, how they treat me or whatever. That's all that was. And so obviously it should be obvious. It should be obvious to anyone that I was willing to date him in the first place, even after everything that I've seen. And that I've always maintained that I don't want to fight with regular people over this stuff, especially when we're up against so much. I tried to humanize the internet, and, a lot of these circles, I didn't realize it was such a market. And I think right now we're all starting to realize exactly what that is. And that's what this attack is. So now that I'm not working, I I guess I'll make content. I didn't really need that. I was doing it to help people. I moved out here and I was basically trying to set my life up so that I would be able to do that. And I wanted to be consistent for my audience. And I spent a lot of years trying to make, like myself feel like ready to start, because it's not something that I normally would do. And it's like kind of out of my element, but it's also like the perfect thing for me once I would get going. But I think when I started to feel like there were these negative little, attitudes, or, I don't know, there's clicks. Like, people are talking about it now. It can get clicky when you start to first, talk about being a creator. People, it gets competitive. People start, checking you out and tearing you down or whatever. And I definitely have experienced that a little bit. It's weird, but I think after this, like, I mean, they've literally tried to take everything from me, and they might succeed, but there are worse things than death. And I'm thankful that I won't like completely die a slave, because at least I'll get to say what I think and tell people what, like what's actually happened to me and what I'm going through. And what I know, I think there are more that things that are going on that, like, we're not hearing about. But this is a very volatile time. And I think that if we can just all give each other grace and remember that you never know what someone's going through. And I still sent that package to my cousin, and I'm so sorry that I don't know what's going on. I can't protect everyone that I love. I can't protect myself. I can't be more than this. But I don't think that this is a totally random thing that basically they've hijacked our government and they're using it. So that is a completely irrational place that we find ourselves. And just like COVID, I hope that you give yourself grace for where you are today. Because of that, remember, you are not the abuse that you are living through. And I always said I would never be in this position again. But I guess I'm here. And I don't know. I just believe that once you heal, like, I don't like to access that type of stuff unless I can help somebody else out of it. And then I'm back to being happy. And I am happy right now. But right now it's like I've already went through the emotions of the damning gravity of what I'm telling you. And I'm also trying to not let this get to me. I'm trying to stay strong and just be myself, which I feel like is under attack. So thank you very much for listening. And I guess I will try to do another video soon, just because I'm going to have to start being more consistent, if only to check in on how this is going and if I'm safe, if there's any updates. I think I really want to know if anyone can point me in the right direction, if I can start to get information on the information about me that's been spread online, and any other information that maybe this jogs somebody's memory or something. I think that's been the most powerful thing. And I want to thank everybody who's spent so many countless hours trying to help, like, figure this out with Charlie. And I hope that we don't have much more, but I think we're in a really volatile time. And so the biggest thing I want to remind you is that, like, if you're not reacting, then you're not paying attention. And I just don't think it's time to let your guard down right now. Because I feel like with this happening to me and the way, if you're one of the people that are being, attacked right now, then you realize that, we're kind of being hunted / it feels a little bit like that. Like you didn't even know, but now you're under attack, you know, like that kind of thing. It's more insidious when you don't realize that someone is acting in bad faith, manipulating you, or like flat out attacking you, and you just, you know, showed up. So I feel like that's kind of what it's been like. I do have like more stuff I just saw, so I'm going to edit this in if I have to. But I've been glancing at it. I have so many. I feel like this one I could just post. When I went to go interview, I'll just drop in little things. When I went to go interview for that job at Co-Card back in, I think, late November, might be December. I feel like it was late November. Yeah. I went to the interview and then I went to like a Dunkin' afterwards, and I was going to get some like work shoes because, excuse me. Because like I realized that my heels that I had bought out here were too clunky, and I needed something like more like every day. And so I went right to the shoe store. But first I went to Dunkin', and my order number was 666 that day. So I think that was a sign too. And I know it sounds dumb. I did take a screenshot. I've got proof. So then I went to the shoe store. I sat in my car and I ate a little bit of food and I finished my coffee. And then I get out and someone honks at me, or they set off a car alarm or something. It's like, which is a stalker. They do that when I went to the grocery store. They do it everywhere. I mean, they used to straight just honk at me, but they've stopped doing that. Now it's just lots of sounds. What is it? Tones, sirens, and like other shit, you know, an idling truck here and there. There's also, you're going to love this. There's also a guy who sounds like it's like a car or even a bike or something. I don't know if someone can help me with this. He sounds like an airplane. And my parents noticed that, and I guess it's actually a car. So there's some asshole who's been driving around the block here sounding like an airplane, which is a signal. Hey, remember that plane crash? So when people signal to me right outside the door here and they're referring to any of this that they're trying to scare me with, I wonder who the fuck is outside, who's paying them, and why they're here. And I wonder why anybody is like not fucking helping me other than, it's advantageous to you to ignore it. You actually know this is not a feature. Sorry, it's not a bug. This is a feature. So pisses me off that I have to be here, but this is where we are. So yeah. And it's basically, let me just read it. So I was going to say that my roommate, Joshua, he said his dad was a Mason. He's actually sat me down when this first happened, and he showed me a whole picture book to tell me. I don't know what that was about. I asked him about it before. He's like, no, whatever. But yeah. So obviously first responders, Masons involved in this, Masons involved in that. The numbers, it all tracks. Okay. So here's one point I want you to remember. We've got I mean, I pretty much said all this. That's why I'm just glossing over it. What bothers me is just, like using these networks of yours. And because I am not a woman of means yet, there's insinuations that I'm not as good as this person, and that he can just do all this, and he can use our structure of our society to completely abuse and control me because of his status. I guess that gives him a fucking out. And then, I think it's insidious that he continues to befriend my mom, not drag her, but he encourages her to run for another position in the GOP. She doesn't get it, but now she's done with that. It's just that it seems like they're trying to get my parents more in this little circle and then get me out. Over the past couple months, my mom has messaged me about estrangement. And she said, hey, somebody came up to me and was talking to me about estrangement. She means in her social circle here. So probably church. I don't know. But she's like, what do you think about that? And I'm just like, okay, what? Because I won't go to therapy. So your people are telling me that maybe we just should break up as your kid. Okay, so these people are trying to completely subvert my fucking parents from me so that they can fleece them for the next few years. And that's it. And I don't appreciate it. So that's basically why they're going to try to say that I'm aggressive, that basically this attitude that I have isn't, a response to everything that I've just mentioned. Because I'll tell you, my temperament is really good. I'm a very positive person. In fact, they mock me for being so positive. But, oh God. But I certainly can't be a robot, and this freaks me out. And I've always been a person who will stand up for the righteous things in life. And so I'm not afraid to talk like this. I'm literally just being frank. And I've been way nicer than I should be. And I've literally let you completely devastate my life. And you're just another fucking person in the world. You've completely transgressed my boundaries. You've destroyed, you've given me PTSD on I can't trust you. Do you understand the gravity of everything that I can see? And you just thought it was fine. And you continue to do so. So anyway, I think they got me that job to make sure that I was, staying busy. That's why the get back to work thing is happening. Oh, do you guys know I named the Borg? What's it called? I'm sorry, the Claw. I named the Claw. Since they follow me on my phone, that was something I was calling, I call it the Blob, the Borg, whatever. Then I said the Claw. Then they make the Claw, and I'm like, whatever, but it's fine. I'll take royalties whenever. It's fine. There's been a few times like that, but I think it's really just them trying to hope that maybe me seeing something I said on TV, like a big TV, might fucking make me go crazy. Or then they could be like, I don't know. I mean, it's something that no one would believe from me. So I'm just, not really going to go into all of it. But that's kind of how all this really actually plays out. It's just when you start to realize this is how God uses people or things. It's not a fantastical journey. It's just, the soup that we live in. Yeah, I'm just kind of grossed out that I've had to live through this. So I'm hoping to get out and maybe move to another city. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, this is obviously a broader problem that is impacting the entire country. So I make no claims about feeling like I can buy security when we literally need to deal with the problem at hand. So I'm hoping, that people will respect my boundaries, but that's going to be more of a reflection of that person or those people, that would, if they have to do something like that. So, and at that point, you just can't live in fear. It's fine. I would rather say my piece and not die a fucking coward than live under these people's tyranny. Oh yeah, I was going to say Bo played Call of Duty and then that weird game with the kicking the basketballs in the thing or something, but you're driving. I don't know. He did that. But that was his screen name, was the Tyrant 615. Super gay. Anyway. I'm sure you'll find him. But yeah, the cricket things. I thought the cricket sounds was actually them mocking me for not starting my podcast this whole time. Then come to find out that's an energy weapon signature. Fuck. That sucks, dude. Well. Big gulps, huh? All right. So we're going to probably figure this out. Money. I mean, I'm pretty much just going over it. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Oh, this is good. And a lot of this stuff I wrote just on the 26th of this month, or I'm sorry, last month. So a lot of this is the timeline has been put together recently. I'm trying to do it as much as I can. It's not as concise as I'd like it because I'm exhausted and I've tried to explain. So it is going to be a little bit of jumping around. I don't know if I'm going to really edit it or just throw it up. I don't know what I feel like doing right now, or how pressed for time I'll be, because it seems to me that I have to worry about what these men will do. I'm okay. I should be completely fine and safe and happy, and none of this should be happening. But since they've already decided to use me, and they've already decided to target me and just traffic me in some way, that's the feeling I get. I am on I'm on edge, man. I'm never going to not be on edge now. That's probably true. I'm probably just going to have to become a survival chick, I guess. So that's where we're going, which, you know, another thing. I didn't dress up for these people, but it seems like they've really, they've insulted my looks, damn it. They've insulted, like, does she have any clothes? Because she's not changing her outfit for us. Well, bitch, I'm not going to change my outfit for you. And like, I'm going to work and going home. I'm wearing something comfortable. And like, why would I dress up for people that like would do this? It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, I really feel like it's not the most important thing. I don't really wear that much makeup or really do much anymore. And I feel like I'm happy with how I look, irregardless of whether I wear makeup or I don't. Excuse me. And I would never really have anybody in my life in a serious way that would judge me on that. They would just not be part of my life because that's just not how I am. Like, so thought that was kind of funny. Wanted to mention it. I feel like a lot of this is just going over what I've been saying, so that's good. As long as we can just make sure that we kind of covered a good amount of the basics. And I try to keep it more on the facts of what I think other people would find important and helpful, as opposed to the emotional bombs that they keep inflicting onto me in my life. They keep throwing some like death and destruction and hell at me and trying to hurt me to get me to be afraid, to even live my life. Because this is actually what I should be doing. This is what I should be able to do anything that, you know, comes to mind. But I have not felt safe. I mean, I've still tried to like, you know, not let it get down, like not let it get me down and go out. But I mean, I want to have a life, and it's been 2 years now. And how is this like not like mate suppression by those people? Like I wanted to get like a restraining order, but I'm like, well, I don't even see Bo here. I think I know a couple of his, you know, friends' names, but it looks like it's multiple random people all the time. How am I supposed to get a restraining order? It makes it extremely hard. And then, you know, I'm so high up here in my apartment. It's like, I just kind of feel like a sitting duck. And I just feel like people have used that to their advantage, and they have continued to. And they just think that since they don't see anybody around me here, that they're just emboldened to do it and that nothing will ever fucking happen. And I just think that's really short-sighted. And I watch these people treat me like this, and I'm just really blown away. I'm blown away that that you were tricked by money and stuff and fame and fortune and fucking just bullshit. And now we're here. And I do have some more that I could say. That would probably help really quick before we shut down. So yes, give it to God, everybody. It's not yours to hold. That has helped me immensely. And I've been getting, I had to Google this the other day. I'm sorry, I didn't hold it up. I had to Google this the other day. I've been getting like right underneath my rib cage, extreme, like just kind of sore from just probably breathing weird from this, because the tension from just the constant stress of all of these men stalking and harassing me and doing what they're doing. And it's on like a huge level. So like any one piece, there's plausible deniability. It's fine. Circumstantial evidence on its own, fine. When you put the whole picture together and a pattern emerges, and then you go, that guy knows about this, he's okay with that. He is trying to get her to be silent about this. That's why he's literally referencing it over here. I mean, like, these people are shameless. And any care that they tell you that they have, I would not really go there. Oh yeah, so I was just mentioning when I talked to that guy. And then with all the LA people I had to block. What else? Yeah, I'm just done. I'm really done. I think I pretty much mentioned it. which is great. I made a lot of progress in a short amount of time, probably faster than before. Yeah. One last page, 1 second, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking about how I'm trying to breathe and I'm struggling to bring the message forward and do it right with the conviction of my spirit and blah, blah, blah. Give it to God. Evil is visible. We're doing it. All right. So I think that's pretty much it for now. I have some things that I might share as well, as far as screenshots and things that I've had to document for the receipts part of this. But yeah, this is probably going to be pretty bad. They're probably not going to like it because they're psychopaths and they want to continue the destruction. And they want to be able to lie on me and they want to be able to lie on everybody. But I guess this is a lesson. You know, I wanted to get off social media like a decade ago, but if you don't have anybody in your corner, like you're in a new place like I am, and you're like, and it's exactly what happened to Charlie. He found out he had a whole network that was showing up that just popped in and controlled his whole life. He couldn't even tweet. He didn't even have the option to tweet on his own at the end. That's not power. And like, that's not making it. So I might not have a lot right now, but I've been trying to build the right way and I've been trying to live the right way. And I'm the type of person where, you know, I might rub people's demons the wrong way. And, you know, I'm not perfect. God, I don't know why anybody insists on that's one of the tags that they always try to throw at you. I'd love to come back and let people get to know me because this has taught me a lot of things. And I do feel like this is an important time. And if I'm still here and still able to be a part of it, then I'd like to keep people updated because I don't know what people's reactions are going to be. And so, I worry about my safety and I just have to kind of live one day at a time right now until I can kind of move to a new place and try to get some space from these individuals who won't leave me alone. And, you know, obviously are being paid to stalk and harass and intimidate me. And we're probably paying for it. We're probably paying with that for our tax dollars or whatever. I mean, look into what the details are being used for. I don't know. Like, maybe they're here. I bet they're getting some overtime over here. I'm not even kidding. I don't want to say that, but I mean, like, I thought about it when I heard that. I'm like, well, that actually tracks. Because I wonder when people just never stop showing up around me. And it doesn't matter where I go or what I do. I went to, like, my dad's, like, in a different city. I went to, like, Knoxville, like 3.5 hours away, and they still went over there too. So they'll do it anywhere. I mean, my dad was in Oregon on vacation when he had his heart attack in a hotel. Like, they can get you anywhere, and I know that. I've always maintained that you cannot buy security, but you also can't buy class. And some people, they have really, well, I guess they've just let themselves talk, you know? And that's been enlightening for everyone. And that's been hard to watch because, I'm still trying to place, like, everything without a lot of detail in some areas. But it does seem like this is obviously very, very similar. And I'm hoping that, people can start to try to communicate with me, and I'll do my best to join in on, whatever can be done. But yeah, I still struggle right now with the fact that, like, I mean, for a couple months out of the year, I didn't want to believe my roommate was, part of this, even though he had been sending me memes that I took, like, like he was in contact with them. And it was obvious, if you just kind of look back, that there's plausible deniability and then there's something else. So anyway, my throat is killing me, and I'm going to go, stop doing this. Try to get some sleep for the first time this week. But yeah, after everything. So I really appreciate everybody. And I'm like, I don't even want to let go. Yeah. Let's work on getting everything back to normal, okay?